Now, you'll notice we did find these guys, these clam things again. And I think they might be stronger than they are in Crystal Caves. Their coloring is a bit different, but actually no, we're still taking them out about the same. These are really the main enemies in here. Also, one thing I really like is, you know how we went down that log before, and you might think that this is itself a log, but especially because if you approach it from this direction, yeah, this is just, you know, that's a lump of rock or a vine on the shore. Like, the forced perspective that you get when you first come to this makes it not at all obvious that it is actually a skull. A very, very large skull. I also avoided an item because we were fighting a Hydra at the time, so let's go get that real quick. Yeah, it's right out there in the distance. Yeah, like, the skull has the exact same coloring as the log. It's such a great fake out. Oh god, and the music in the area, you know this place is important. You can feel it just from, like, the reverence for this music has, you know? I really love it for this. And of course, given how much attention the game pays to having a proper sense of location, it's quite interesting that there's a sky here and there's these giant trees just holding everything up. And I believe that there was something somewhere that mentions that the great arch trees are what hold the world up. So we've sort of made our way down below the earth proper, and this is another sort of very mythological theme. The idea of, like, the earth being held up by trees or elephants or other living type creatures, other natural creatures, and there being a sort of underworld like this in it. I think since the Hydra's dead, I'm actually going to top off on Estus Flasks real quick. Have to re-kill those clams, but that's not too much of a problem. And you sort of get this sense that we're in a kind of either a primordial world or an underworld of sorts now that we've made our way down here. And it's a very short area, but the first time that I came here, it's impossible to describe the kind of, I don't know, awe that this whole scene struck in me, you know? This area is absolutely fantastic. And I mean, as a gameplay area, it's not so great, but I'm just so amazed by everything I find here that I'm willing to forgive that it has these kind of annoying clam enemies and the interesting in concept but awkward to fight Hydra. Let's call it that. It's just really? You have no health, buddy. This is crap. Nothing from that. You can get your curse cured here if you're aware the area exists, of course. It's in a game that is so concerned with its own, mythology. Holy shit. This area just feels like it has so much care. Feels like it's so special. And because it's hidden behind those two separate illusory walls, this isn't meant to be a secret. This is meant to be a super secret. It makes it feel really important just from a design standpoint, and I just love it so much for that. Sort of awkward lighting effect there, but in this floating body you get another dragon scale, and gee, we sure have been getting a lot of those. Let's read that description again real quick. It does show up in our Titanite shards. Dragon scale for reinforcing dragon weapons. Peeled from an ancient dragon. A dragon is inseparable from its scales. and the transcendent apostles who seek the perpetuity of the ancient dragons have crossed the very end of the earth to seek this invaluable treasure. You'll remember that we found one near the Blighttown bonfire as well, in that sort of weird pit. So you'll notice that there is sort of a concentration of dragon mythology and slight mentions of this dragon cult, all centered around here. Hey, maybe keep that in mind, you know? Bit of an awkward edge on this sand dune here as we wrap around another tree. We do, you know, we got that one tree. That's the one that we actually came down to get to this area here, but I like that you actually start to approach other trees and can even start exploring them. And you might think that maybe that was just one tree that's sort of hollowed out there, but actually no, they're... Ooh. Uh-oh. Whew, I got really lucky there. But actually no, these... As we start to make our way to all of these other trees, we do in fact find other hollowed out, mushroomed out caverns going around here. Whatever this corruption, whatever this just honestly decay is, it is systemic to these trees. And that's important. Like that's a really important touch. Okay, now that we're in this area, I think I can properly introduce these mushrooms. They're a bit slow and a bit lumbery, but how do I put this delicately? They punch like trucks. Their punches will send you flying. They don't stun lock from like anything. So... And they sometimes have like 3-hit combos. They're also massive walls of health. So like, yeah, it takes 3 swings from my like stunlock anything Zweihander to really make these guys flinch. They're sort of notorious in Dark Souls for being a bit of a fucker. Oh, and then of course, because we have the Havoc physics engine, when they're body ragdolls, it's incredible. Look at these guys. Oh my god. I'm so sorry that I'm doing this to you, but your corpse just lost all of its weight instantaneously. You are a small plastic being now. Anyway, you come over to this side, and it looks like we're actually on the other side of that sandbank here. And there's something of a secret exit, really, or a secret entrance. But honestly, I think we took the easier way here. I believe there might be one other thing in there, so let's check again just to be certain. But you do see that, you know, these mushrooms have taken root in these basilisks. They hang out in all of these trees, and that's sort of an important distinction because it shows you directly that this old ancient order, that this entire world is really starting to fall apart. You know, you have to keep those sorts of things in mind. Okay, God, I know that there is a path to get up to there. And it's, I believe, that cave over there, so how do I get over to there? Again, all of these tree puzzles are very much based on your ability to reason spatially. Whee! Yeah, it's that right there. So the question is, how do we get over there? Don't know if that's walkable. Here's another clam just sort of hiding in a corner here. Also seems like it's buried itself in a little dune or something. Kind of a cute touch. Like, bivalves do that. Yeah, that is the way. I just don't remember how to get up to it. Oh, wait. I think it's that one, isn't it? If I can find a way up into there. I haven't done this. I haven't been to this place in years and years, so all of my knowledge is a little bit suspect. No, that's definitely not it, is it? Yeah, I know there's a way to get higher in here, and I know those items are pretty decent, so I may look it up after we go further into the area. Give it one last look-see before I go. Because I know you guys love me wasting your time. Oh, right. I think this is either going to kill me or be the correct thing. One of the two. Really? Really? Yeah, that's the view right there. Yeah, and then we get a path going upwards. I knew it was something like that. But yeah, you know, spatial reasoning, very important in here. You get a great magic barrier for almost killing ourselves. Miracle of the Bishop, Hovel the Rock. Cover body in powerful defensive magic coating. Hovel the Rock, an old battlefield compatriot of Lord Gwyn, was the sworn enemy of Seath the Scaleless. He despised magic, and made certain to devise means of counteraction. So we find a spell of Hovel's down here, of all people. That's sort of interesting. In fact, you might even call that a little suspicious, given that we've mostly been seeing dragon lore down here. I think what it's kind of meant to say to you is that this isn't just like the ancient land where the battle from the beginning cutscene was fought. This is literally the place. You're walking on history here. Like, everything that you find is a relic of the age before the Age of Fire. And you make your way down this path, and you can kind of tell that the sand dune here is lessening, and you might be kind of on guard here, but let's make our way into yet another hollow ancient tree. And of course, if this is the land of the ancients, and if the arch trees themselves are starting to fall apart, what does that mean going forward, you know? This area asks a lot of questions and doesn't provide very many answers, and it does it in just the best way possible. So you go over here, you start falling into this path, and you'll notice the light really is kind of changing in character. You're clearly going inside something, and the game's occluding something from you, and those wings over there, they, We found an everlasting dragon. And for finding him, we actually find that dragon cult, the Path of the Dragon that we were in, or that was talked about in the Dragon Scale. So let's fuck it. I think he gives us something for just coming into this, and we've already saved Solaire, so I don't really care much about the Daughters of Chaos anymore. Yes, we get a Dragon Headstone and a Dragon Eye. And we can actually give Dragon Scales in order to rank up in this Covenant, but that's more of a PvP thing, and I'm not quite gonna go do that. Instead, let's take a look at these items. They are both equipables. One's an equipable, one's a usable item, I think. Maybe I'm just wrong. Son of a bitch. Or I went straight past it without noticing it. I'm not really sure. Right, Dragon Headstone and a Dragon Eye. Invade the world, the possessor of a Dragon Scale. Find a player who has acquired a Dragon Scale and invade that player's world to pillage it. An art of the transcendent apostles who pray to the ancient dragons. To be alive is to be vulnerable, and the fiery gods are no exception. The apostles seek another plane of existence, which transcends life. and the dragon headstone. Stone imbued with the power of the dragons. Rite of apostles of the ancient dragons. Gain head of dragon. Emit dragon breath. The dragon apostles seek transcendence of life itself, attainable by transformation into ancient dragons. This rite is only one step, but it cannot be reversed until death. So yeah, you can turn your head into a dragon and spew fire, and if you do certain other things, you can spew other things, but that's maybe for other videos that are not this one. Other Let's Plays, maybe. But we get just this tantalizing hint into a Dragon Covenant that also says a lot about the rest of the game as well. Because to be alive is to be vulnerable, and the fiery gods are no exception. That's basically what the whole game has been telling us up to this point, that the gods themselves, the fire will dwindle, their power will die out, and they can die. We've even killed off several of them ourselves. Yet, somehow, some way, if you fear death that much, and, you know, going back to Seath himself, there is something else that you can do, and it kind of says that these dragons, they aren't alive in quite the same way. And you get just a very interesting picture from this one. Because while you sort of saw the other dragons as scaly, they're always, like, you know, shown to be these scaly monstrosities, you actually kind of find that this one is hairy. And I think what that sort of says is that all of this knowledge has been lost about these ancient dragons, and that actually, if you think back to Priscilla, if you look on this guy, these true dragons, while they did have these stone scales underneath them, and they were the source of their immortality, they were also hairy, and a lot of this information has just been lost. It's the same way that, like, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, the original one, were scaly, because that was sort of what we knew about them at the time, and now we kind of realize that they looked completely different than what we had, or than what we thought they did, even back, you know, in the 90s. And, like, this information about the dragons has been lost, and it sort of makes you call into question even the opening cutscene, you know? Who had control over that narrative exactly? Of course, I'm doing all this talk, but you can actually cut off this guy's tail, and he won't really say anything about it. He'll just give you a dragon greatsword. You know, I haven't left the Covenant. Hard to tell if he's even annoyed with me there. You really get the sense that these beings kind of transcend worldly concerns, you know? I love them. It's so terrifying and awesome to actually, like, you know, see this sort of thing, this piece of history, especially when the game tells you that the dragons were all wiped out. Let's take a look at this dragon greatsword. This sword, one of the rare dragon weapons, came from the tail of the stone dragon of Ash Lake, descendant of the ancient dragons. Its great mystical power will be unleashed when wielded with two hands. Might have the strength for this? Let's give it a shot. Nope, not quite. Look at this fucking thing, though. Just a giant slab. And all the dragon weapons really have that sort of primordial feel to them. I quite like it. Yeah, I can't quite do much with it. Oh well. I prefer a Zweihander anyway. Mostly because it's plus 13. So, you get a lot from this, and like, you can even take a bit more of a look, a little of a better look at him here. You do sort of get an odd impression from the way that one horn sort of sticks straight out and the other one's kind of curly in that way. Sort of makes you wonder a lot about it. And of course, I might be spouting some things that are sort of contradictory to the actual lore, I don't know too much about this guy exactly, but it's interesting. I mean, you see he's a descendant of the ancient dragons, so perhaps there was some change over time, but it's amazing to kind of come through all this way, come into another tree that seems to be like a shelter of sorts, and, you know, a font of life where all the other trees just seem to be dead and decaying. And to find this, and this is the end of Ash Lake. This is all that's here. Kind of a wonderful little side area. This is one of my favorite secrets in the game, and God, I just love it.